you. But whatever it was, did not like what he was saying. And Daniel and Darla said they heard a child scream, and then a glass skull that was sitting right where Billy was went flying off the table and crashed on the floor. And that freaked Jeff out. He didn't want to get near the dolls again. But
Well, he
I tried to
offended him.
explain. Yeah, and I tried to explain to him, you got to understand, these aren't just dolls. There's people attached to them, and they don't like to be offended. They don't like you to talk bad about them.
And he's not
So,
evil or bad.
right, and that's what I try to tell him is like, hey, you talk bad about, if I talk bad about you, you're going to get upset at me. But I don't know if it was even Billy that did it, but I mean, I had two other dolls there. One was George, which is a Raggedy Andy, looks like Annabelle, which is it's also as active as Annabelle, and the other one is one that I recently got from England. This lady bought it at an antique shop, and all hell broke loose in her house, including her house started getting full of flies and dead flies and all that. And when she tried to clean it up, she found um, what is it, pentagrams drawn on the feet. So she sent it to me, and we named her
Ruthie.
Ruthie. Ruthie. And so those two in the back, I kept in the back because I don't want people even touching them. I don't like actually anybody really handling them because of lack of experience. There is a
Yes.
few crew that will carry Billy, but they treat Billy with respect, and those are the ones I'll let them carry him. But I'm real picky on who will touch them, and out of safety of everybody.
Right.
Um, so we have so many of them, and again, like even Ruthie, we I feel, and I like to ask a few um, psychic mediums that I have confidence in,
Right. You
and
have to
I
have
will
the
not only ask
confidence.
one, I'll ask, yeah, and I'll ask two or three for confirmation. So I just don't go to one and this is what she said and that's what I'm going to believe. No, I go to two or three, and plus Jamie and I are sensitive enough to get the feelings
Hmm.
of what's attached to them. So with Ruthie, I feel there's a young woman attached to it, but there's also something darker attached to it. The young woman is scared and sad, and I don't know yet because what we're figuring out, the doll was used in some kind of ritual.
Oh.
I don't know if it was a demonic ritual, a voodoo ritual. It was used in some kind of ritual, and it has another darker attachment to it.
Right. And
Don't
we
know
got
what it is.
validation.
Yeah, we have validation on that. And that's why this is not for anybody to bring it home and play with it and try to do their things. Because if you don't know how to handle these, you will get hurt. And I know there's people out there that might not believe in that. But like I tell people, I have over 30 something dolls plus other things that are attached to my house. I feel sorry for anybody that breaks into my house.
I would.
but,
I would feel
well,
sorry
and
for
I'm
them
just saying,
too.
I actually have a couple of them that do not like strangers, and I keep them in the cabinet. But whenever I have a guest come over, I'll tell them, this is a friend of mine. They're okay to be here. So there's nothing happened. But that's how the respect that you got to have. And again, it's not the doll. I'm not talking to the doll. I'm talking to whatever is attached to it, because you have to understand, if there is somebody attached to an artifact, regardless if I mean, I got handcuffs that have attachments. I have medical instruments that have attachments.
Jewelry box.
Um, I have all kinds of stuff, and Jamie does too. But something is attached to it for a reason. It was either the last thing that touched them when they died. Who knows? But the dolls, I believe, they were their prized possession. And since it was their prized possession, when they died, they didn't want to let go of their doll. Now, just imagine you have something that you hold dearly to you, and if somebody just messes with it or mistreats it, you're going to get upset. And that's what I try to teach people is this is their, I mean, they're so attached to it that they're still attached to it. Don't mistreat it because they'll be upset. And that's why we treat them like, you know, we put them in the airplane, not in the luggage. And I seatbelt them in the seat and he's there. And I mean, it's not like I talk to the dolls because I don't talk to the dolls, but I will talk to the entities that are attached to them. And it's a hard thing to comprehend for some people, but that's how Jamie and I treat our artifacts. I mean, we even have a Dybbuk box, you know, and to me, a Dybbuk box is a religious artifact that the Jews use for their dead, and they put the human remains, the bones, in those Dybbuk boxes, and a lot of them have, you know, paranormal activity. They have the attachment of whatever spirit was put in there. Some are good and some might not be that nice. But also, I believe in treating that with respect in the sense of you don't go publicly, okay, and let's open this up and let's see the show that we're going to see. No, I believe that you got to treat it with total respect, not only for whatever's attached to it, but also respect for whatever believes in it. Like the Jews believe in their Dybbuk box. I am not about to, just because I'm not Jewish doesn't mean I'm going to go and disrespect their, you know, artifact or whatever, you know. And that's what I try to teach is like, you don't go around making fun of all this stuff and yeah, let's make a spectacle of it, because it's a total disrespect, not only for the entity, but for the people that believe in certain things.
Yes, I agree with that. Do you know anyone personally who has opened a Dybbuk box?
I don't want to name names, but I know there was a show on Halloween that they were going to do that.
Because I went looking for that Dybbuk box. That was my primary reason for going to a haunted museum in Las Vegas.
I got touched in that room.
I did too.
And I got touched in the face.
The actual experience that I had there was quite interesting because with the various ways that it's bound, you can see the sand sifting. You can see like claw marks sifting through that sand.
Yes. Did the safe have mold on it when you went?
It did.
Yep.
And well, I mean, who's going to open that without proper authority there to put fresh sage in, right? I wouldn't break those boundaries.
Well, I can't remember what rapper, but supposedly he got cursed after being in that room.
Well, it was a very different experience than I anticipated.
I can tell you the rapper most likely disrespected the stuff.
Of course. That's what gets you in trouble.
I can't remember his name for nothing right now.
But that's why, you know, Jamie and I are doing it more for educating the public and protecting these items than, you know, for show and tell and let's, you know, our goal is to more educate and show the respect that it deserves, you know, where some people are more of a, what do you call it, carnival sideshow or, you know, and that's not what we're doing it for.
Well, and you're not. And one thing that I've been so impressed with is the respect that you have for your items. And I'm going to be straight up with you. Felix, I've known you forever. We've been friends for years and years. Jamie,
yes, we have.
I love you. We've been friends for a couple of years, but we're sisters from our souls. We've known each other before now is an amazing friendship. I had no idea, Felix, that you were a collector at this level. And
Oh, really?
certainly not that you had the levels of active items in your collection. So when I started hearing you discuss it, I just kind of sat back and listened, which everyone knows is rare for me. And it was just fascinating that this was a side of you I didn't know.
Well, I mean,
well,
and I'll tell you, yeah.
You first.
Okay. Well, I've always been involved in the paranormal since I was a kid.
Yes.
And everything and anything paranormal will intrigue me. I was always weary, to be honest, of these haunted dolls and stuff like that. And after my experiences, I have turned a different respect for it. Like in the early stages of my paranormal life, I probably would have gone to see what's the one in Key West?
Robert.
Yeah, Robert the doll, and I would have probably taken a picture of him without asking permission.
Never a good idea.
Yeah, but back in the old times, I was a little more.
True.
But after me having my collection and understanding and knowledge of my artifacts and how they do talk to you, people don't understand. They do talk to you if you listen. I have a total different respect for it, and I would never ever disrespect Robert or any other item that might have an attachment to it. But my first haunted doll in my collection was another doll, which is also named Billy. He was my original Billy. I think I have a picture of him on Facebook. I'm not sure. Did I put one night, Jamie?
Yeah. She used a picture of him on the.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the older looking doll, and he's stuffed with hay or something like that. Well, a friend of mine bought it at an antique store, and she threw it in her closet, and all of a sudden she started getting some paranormal activity in her house. And she had no clue of what was going on. And all of a sudden, when she didn't have any paranormal activity, she was getting her sheets pulled from her when she was in bed. She was feeling her skirt being pulled when she was in the kitchen. The lights kept blowing out in the closet, and all that. So she comes to me because she knows I'm a paranormal investigator, and she asked me what is going on. And so I said, well, first question is always, have you bought something from an antique store? Because you can buy a plate that might have an attachment. So she goes, well, I bought this doll for a Halloween prop and I just threw it in the closet. I said, bring me the doll. And I asked her, has the activity started since you bought the doll? And she goes, yeah. And I said, bring me the doll and I'll have it checked out. She brought me the doll. I did have it checked by a few mediums that, like I said, that I trust. And we found out that it's a little boy that's attached to it. It's a German boy, immigrant from Germany. They immigrated to the U.S., moved out west, and were farmers. And they died in a fire in the house, but the doll survived. So that boy is attached to it. And another confirmation that we got, I used to take it to the Thomas house. And in the green hallway, I was with Chad. At the time, I was still a guest. I wasn't even a crew member for Ghost Hunt Weekends. And Krista was in the green hallway, and she was doing a ghost box or something, and she started getting farm, cow, a fire, everything that pertained to farming and a fire. And she didn't understand because it didn't coincide with the Thomas house. So it just was like, what the hell's going on? And she called Chad. I was with Chad in the church. She goes, Chad, I'm getting all these. Chad's the only one that knew the story of the doll, by the way. So she calls Chad,